people that work or have worked in bikini waxing salons. What is the worst disturbing experience you have come across while giving someone a bikini wax NSFW? This was not really something gross that the client did, but something that the esthetician did. I am currently in school for aesthetics, and one of my instructors was telling us about a former student who was scheduled her first Brazilian appointment. Everything went well until she got to the woman's butthole and she was not really sure what to do with it. So she scooped some hard wax up with a popsicle stick, sprayed it across and stuck it inside her butthole like we do with nose waxes. Well, I am puckered shut, got full on hanky butt right now. Username no longer checks out. Someone had come in after some personal time with their partner. Obviously there was no condom used or no cleanup after because my waxing bed got green-peed, the worst thing I have had to experience, and I am now in nursing. You are about to see a lot of I tripped and fell incidents. It was a 1 in a million shot. So this Hot Wheels car wrapped in a well-lubed condom magically got stuck in your ass. Okay then. I have one. A girl came into my salon a month before she got married. She had never groomed her pubic hair and claimed to be a virgin. She wanted to be waxed right before her wedding, completely natural, right? I recommended she get a wax now, and another before the big day, since there was no way of knowing how her prize lady bits would react to the wax. She declined at set an appointment 3 days before her wedding. Fair enough. When she came back, I was not prepared for the amount of pubic hair she had. It was unusual for a fair-skinned blonde client to have long coarse black hair, but whatever, it is my job, so I trim her up, clean her, and prepare to wax her. Again, she had ungodly amounts of dark hair. Even trimmed, her skin was barely visible. So after inspecting her and not seeing any issues, I begin waxing. I shit you not, she had skin tags and perturbing moles that I did not see before starting. To get to the point, I pulled a strip from her labia area, and pulled off about 20 skin tags. She yowled, the entire salon heard, and then she started bleeding, like gushing blood. We know how to handle bleeding pores. But I had never heard of this. So we are both screaming and crying, and I have to call her an ambulance because she would not stop bleeding. I thought I almost killed her. Maybe not the grossest story, but it was traumatic. I changed professions soon after. I imagine her wedding night was not magical either. Edit to answer questions. What I perceived to be skin tags could very well have been HPV. That being said, her client info form indicated she had no known illness or conditions. Also, I have waxed in a few warts before. Sometimes they tear or even bleed, but they do not come off intact the way these did. Yes, obviously the room and equipment was fully sanitized after the incident. True, an ambulance is expensive here in the States, but it was a necessary call. She was still bleeding heavily when the EMTs arrived, and it is the responsibility of their business. From what I understand, I was not fired. I did not get in any trouble. But I did feel guilty, so I voluntarily stood before my state board and told them what happened. It was fine, no repercussions. I never heard from her again, though we did attempt to contact her to check in. Nada. Yes, she was a little fat, I would say overweight, but not obese. Her hygiene seemed fine. A skin tag is fleshy deposit of excess skin. They have a ton of causes, but they are often in places that sweat or rub a lot. Common on larger people, though average and thin people get them too. They usually are not painful unless they are messed with, like trying to pop it like a pimple, scratching, attempting to remove it, you know, stuff like that. Sounds like HPV, not skin tags. That is entirely possible, but I am pretty sure in her case they were skin tags. She had them on her neck as well, and I have accidentally waxed my share of warts before. They did not come off the way these particular anomalies did, but maybe. Having cut the occasional skin tag off from time to time, can confirm, they bleed like crazy. I remember when I was in 8th grade I got really pissed off at one of my skin tags and cut it off with a pair of scissors. Yeah, it did not stop bleeding and it eventually grew back. Body 1 me 0. I got rid of one once using the string method. Tied a string to cut off the blood flow for a couple days, then cut it off. Never came back. I did apple cider vinegar and duct tape for moles before. Worked perfectly and never came back. What sorcery is this? You just soak a cotton ball or part of one depending on size of spot and put it on mole war tag and tape it there. Leave it one for whatever amount of time you can. I am sure there are some specifics out there. You then take it off and let it dry out, then repeat daily if possible. It will swell and look angry, then shrivel and look like a scab. Also gets insanely itchy, but do not touch. Then it falls off. Here is a Redditor's post from 5 years ago who tried it out. Link. Note: I did not use the needle scraping method and just put in the and it worked. Using duct tape and ECV was the way I went. Edit closed my parentheses. Damn me. I used to be an esthetician and I will never forget the first Brazilian I ever gave a girl. I was inexperienced, so to get the butt area I made her go on all fours. After I powdered up her butt, I was holding her cheeks open and closely examining the direction of her hair growth so I did know which direction to spread the wax, as I was trained to do. Then all of a sudden I see her butthole opening and closing and opening and closing, and then bam, she fully farted in my face. She was super embarrassed and said it was an air bubble. Did not smell like one though. It was just saying hi, forgive my asshole, for causing such trouble. It was nothing more than a little air bubble. Briefly worked as a waxer after I graduated from cosmetology school. Quit after this dude kept coming in with larger and larger anal beads in his ass. Accidentally get wax on the bead handle and pull. Watch him roar like a lawnmower. Laughed out loud at the visual. Pictured guy with lawnmower mouth. Same, but in my mind he also has a John Deere t-shirt. Esthetician here. My worst experience was a full Brazilian wax on an extremely obese woman. I was relatively new to the field and lacked the experience to deal with this type of situation. I could not get the angles right. I felt so awkward asking her to hold her stomach that blanketed over her vagina, and her legs were just too large for me to actually reach the area. She was unable to bend the legs properly. I think at one point I lost wax between a fold, and had to pry the skin hair apart to apply the strip. I remember my back hurting from the way my body was positioned, frantically trying to finish on time for my next client, and so much sweat. Both of us. It was the dead middle of summer. I am sure a seasoned esthetician may have been able to handle this better, but that is my worst experience. I currently work at a waxing center and I have had many foul experiences. I love my job, but sometimes I wonder why I still do this. A new client had come in for a full Brazilian. She was no older than 17 and it was her first time doing it. I was trying to make her as comfortable as possible and explain everything I was doing. So we finished the front and I tell her to flip over and hold her butt cheeks so I can do the butt strip. I apply the wax over her butthole. I guess she was not expecting it because she farted and blew a bubble with the wax. It popped so loudly that it echoed in the room. I had never seen anything happen like that before. I could see she was humiliated and I was embarrassed for her. I immediately turned around and started fumbling with anything I could get my hands on to pretend I did not just see what happened. I never saw that girl again. This made me laugh so hard I started crying. I have a story from a client of mine about a previous CO worker. So I have this client coming in for a Brazilian. As soon as we're in the room, she warns me that last time she was in, she did not like her last experience and let me know that she has her clit pierced. I was like, cool, no probs, thanks for the heads up. Let's try to make this better. I figured she lifted or bruised, so we get started, and there is the piercing. No biggie. Well, halfway through, she starts talking, and I was like, I hope this has been a better experience for you. I would not want a repeat of last time. And she explains that it was not the waxing, it was the waxer, apparently. When she explained her piercing to the previous esthetician, she pulled the towel back, and patted the pierced clit without gloves, saying how she has never seen one of these before. Under no circumstance are you to directly touch a client there. The woman was not impressed, and refused to return until she was sure the previous esthetician was no longer employed. So it is not really my experience. I just felt bad for my client. Wow, okay, I know that you are showing your most intimate parts, and there is a lot being touched down there, but to touch the clit is a huge no number like WTH. I know, there is a lot going on, and accidents happen, but you should never directly touch the clit. Avoid as much as possible. Oh, I have a story. I am not a waxer, but one time I was getting waxed at a new place and thought things were going just fine. I was making small talk with the esthetician while all spread-eagled on the table. She was facing away getting her supplies ready and she started sniffling and I thought she might be crying. I was like, okay, I know it has been a while, but I cannot be that shocking. And I asked, hey, are you okay? And she turned around just full on ugly snot crying and explained to me that the appointment before mine was her recent ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend. Oh man, that would be so awful. Bulging hemorrhoids. I never knew two words that could sound so ducked up before. Thanks for that mental image. Edit. Oh no, what have I done? My roomie had one today and said the lady doing hers went see that pillow in the corner. We used to have it over here for a while to clutch onto for comfort until a lady started hitting me with it. Now it stays in the corner. It is still kinda for comfort. If she comforts you with that story before she rips a handful of hair out of your gooch. A worm fell out of someone's butthole when I was waxing it. A tiny, little maggot-y looking worm. Finally a worm reply. Edit. Holy shit, my first gold. Thank you Redditor. Thanks to anal worms as well. This is what I have been waiting for. I can only be so erect. Not me or disturbing, but my instructor in cosmetology school told me about a time when they had to practice anal waxing and the way she was supposed to do it involved her putting talcum powder on the butthole area. So she powders the person up and as she is grabbing something else from her work table the person lets out an airy toot and a little fluff cloud of powder came with it. She could not contain herself and had to do the assignment another day laughing. LOL. I just imagined this little comic strip in my head with the word toot and a speech bubble coming out of someone's butt. Sperm bubbles. Women did not always wash up after sex and they did come in for a wax. Sometimes the semen would form a bubble while you were waxing and then it would pop and leave you with an awful rancid sperm smell. This is the worst comment on here. Actually made me gag. Yee, I will never forget that smell. How many guy clients come in to get waxed, asking for a friend? A place in Omaha advertises the baseball special, the bat, the balls, and the dugout. A boss of mine used to go to the Sydney Mardi Gras and a few days before it was on would go out for his back, sack and crack wax. My waxy lady and I talk about this all the time. She said girls come in on their periods all the time. She does not mind as long as there is a tampon in place and it is clean. Some ladies do not comply. She has seen women who have not properly wiped their BH after taking a dump. But the weirdest thing she saw was a girl who was born without an asshole. I do not know who, why, how, what, where, but yeah, that is weird. Unfortunate, mostly. Edit. To clarify, BH means butthole. I am not censoring. I have just gotten in the habit of sometimes calling it that because I think it is funny. My buddy was born without a butthole. They ripped him new one shortly after he was born. The best part, I kid you not, he has the ability to suck air and water into his butt and expel it again. I never went to the pool with him again after that. I am just picturing some dude propelling himself through the water through butthole power. Poot 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 poot. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to our channel.